Okay, let's talk about our vocabulary. So some of the vocabulary words in this story are words that we don't use every day, and they may be a little bit unfamiliar to you. These words are talking about a jury and a trial and a place in court, and those aren't things that we often discuss. So I want to make sure that we really talk about this so that you know what they mean when you're reading the story. Okay, our first word is jury. And a jury is a group of people who make the decisions in a trial. So here in the United States, we have this really cool thing, and it's innocent until proven guilty. So if you are accused of doing a crime, then before they can just throw you into jail, you get to have a trial. And at the trial, there are lawyers and a judge, and you talk about the facts of the case and what's happening. And then a jury helps decide if you're innocent or guilty. So using your paper and pencil that you hopefully got before you started this video, I'd like for you to go ahead and write jury, and then beside of it, write the definition. A group of people who make the decisions in a trial. And that's a jury. If you ask your parents, maybe they've had to do jury duty sometime, and maybe they have been on a jury. All right, if you need to pause the video to finish writing this definition, you can do so now. All right, our next word is convinced. Convinced. And if you are convinced, that means to make someone believe or agree to something. So when I was little, my brother, my older brother, he picked on me a lot. He convinced me that crickets were big monsters and that they would eat me while I slept. I'm a grown-up now and I know that's silly, but when I was little, my brother convinced me. He made me believe that those crickets could get me. I know, silly. All right, so on your paper, I would like for you to write convinced, and then beside that, write make someone believe or agree to something. So they were convinced of something. If you need to pause the video to finish this definition, now's the time. All right, our next word is trial. Trial. And a trial is a meeting in court to decide if someone has broken the law. So just like we discussed a minute ago with jury, whenever you are accused of a crime, a big crime, a little crime, any crime really, before you are sentenced to jail and they say you're going to jail for a long time, everybody has the right to a trial. So that means that you can have a lawyer, or the person who is accused can have a lawyer, and then there will be another lawyer, and they kind of argue back and forth while the jury listens. But the trial is deciding, did they really break the law? So trial. If you need to pause the video to finish, now's the time. Okay, our next word is pointed. And I figure most of you know what pointed means. Yes, pointed means using a finger to show where something is. So sometimes you might have heard that pointing isn't very polite, and that's true. But sometimes if somebody says, "Where is that cup?" you could say, "Over there." Sometimes pointing's not rude, but it's using a finger to show where something is. So go ahead and get pointed written down on your definition sheet. And if you need to pause the video, now's the time. Okay, our next word is murmur. And murmur is a word that a lot of times third graders haven't really heard. And what murmur means is the sound of people talking very softly. So if you have a large group of people, like maybe in church before church starts, lots of people are talking, but they're talking quietly, their voices are low, and when all the people are talking that low, we say that it's a murmur. So murmur, the sound of people talking very softly. You can go ahead and write that definition, and if you need to pause, you can do so. All right, our next word, this is an important word, and hopefully it's a trait that you have. Our next word is honest. And honest just means truthful. It means that you tell the truth. So hopefully everybody is honest, and that means that you don't lie. Sometimes it can be tough to be honest. Maybe if you were playing baseball and you hit the ball and it broke a window in your house, it's tempting to lie, but it's always better to be honest and tell the truth. So honest means truthful. All right, go ahead and write that one, and if you need to pause, you can. All right, we have 2 more words. Our next word is stand. And a lot of times people think that I mean stand, but that's not what I mean. A stand is actually the place where a person sits in a trial while being questioned. So sometimes the witnesses, just like the milkman and the neighbor in the trial of Cardigan Jones, sometimes they have to be asked questions. So they go to this place called the stand, and the stand is kind of up in the front of the court by the judge, and then the lawyers can ask them questions while they sit there. So it doesn't mean stand up. A stand is actually a place where you answer questions in a trial. All right, you may go ahead and write stand on your definition list. And if you need to pause the video to get that written, I know it's kind of long, you can pause now. All right, and then our last definition, our word is guilty. Guilty. Oops. And guilty means having done something wrong. So it means the person who did it. So a lot of times, if I leave food out in my kitchen, my dog, my great big dog Shepherd, will jump up and get it off the table. And then if I say, Shepherd, who did this? He looks at me and he's very guilty. And I know it's because he did something wrong. And again, when you're guilty, sometimes it's hard to be honest. Remember our other word, honest? But it's important that you always try to tell the truth. So guilty means having done something wrong. All right, and that's our last word. So if you need to pause to write that, you can. And next, after this, you're going to complete a little assignment about all of our definitions. You can use the worksheet that you just wrote all your definitions on to help you complete the assignment. Good luck.